Hi guys, welcome to the channel. So, have I got something cool for you guys to see today? And I love this thing. This is going to be awesome, I think. But first of all, just one thing. Somebody asked me if I was going to review the Novridge SSR 15 that's come out in the last week or so. And the simple answer is no, I'm not going to. Now, anyone knows the channel will know that I like some of Novridge's products. I love the SSG10. Yeah, I had a few quality issues, but if he's ironed that out, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I've fired a couple of them now and they all perform perfectly reasonably out of the box. Really good, actually, really well out of the box, and make a legitimate way to get into sniping without having to spend time trying to upgrade a cheaper gun. So I've got nothing against the SSG10. I've got an SSX 23. That's absolutely great. I love it. It's as good as a lot of the other Mark 23 replicas, so not a problem with that at all. He has refined it a little bit over time. Again, if you don't want to buy a Tokyo Marui and then start to have to do the upgrades, it's a way into it straight away without having to mess around if you're not confident in teching. The SSR 15, it's a VFC with a Gate Titan. It's not my cup of tea, if I'm honest. I don't see a benefit in it because, yes, I see he's going for this upgraded starting point, if you like, so you don't have to buy it and start upgrading, putting parts in it. Yeah, I get that. Again, same as the other products. For £500, no, I don't think so. So that's my stance on that. Well, it's not a stance, that's my opinion. It's my personal opinion. So if you've gone out and bought it, then good luck to you. You'll have a great gun. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. But for me, it doesn't fit with what I do and the way the channel's working, so it's not really my thing. And just to show you sort of that what I mean by this, I have here, this is my original Spectre Arms 1 series HK416 and or SA03 SAH03, yeah, and this has got a Gate Titan in it and a few upgraded parts. It's exactly the same, you know, it's the same snappy trigger, all the rest of it. The difference is that this has got one hell of a TNT barrel hop and nub setup in there for £75 roughly, around that, to get this set up. You're going to be throwing .32 BBs halfway around the world. So when you consider that in something like this, you know, there's just no point in me buying a Novridge. I think it's for those people out there who really don't want to tech. They really don't want to tech and they just want to get something with a Gate Titan and, you know, a few bits, and so be it, go for it. Then I'm not going to criticize anyone for buying the Novridge SSR 15. It's just not for me. So that's it. That's the way it is. And let's face it, some people don't want to tech, and there's even people out there who do want to tech but have all the mechanical ability of a rock. And you know what? That's just the way it is. Okay, so back on today's subject. I haven't done an AK variant since pretty early this year, before the lockdown period. So I thought it was time to do another one, because the last one wasn't great and I wanted something that I could really use. And I also wanted to see how cheap we could go with this. So I turned to Cyma and we're going to have a look at what we get. So this is probably as cheap as I'd go with an airsoft replica. At £135, this is dirt cheap. But the question is, are you really sacrificing quality for the budget price tag? And that's what we're going to find out today. So we'll get into this, open the box and see what's in there. Right then, so this is the Cyma AK74U, otherwise known in Cyma language as the CM045a. Who knows? So anyway, let's get into this. And this, whoa, targets are going everywhere. So we've got a manual, and the manual is pretty it's pretty normal stuff. So instructions on how to use it, adjust your sights, put your battery in, put stuff in the hop-up chamber. Okay. Are they seriously putting oil in the hop-up chamber? Now, I don't mind running a rag through the barrel with a little bit of silicone oil on, but it's a new one. So yeah, there you go. Ooh, exploded diagrams, I like those. And finally, the replica itself. Now this is the AK74U, and I love the AK74U. I like the fact it's stubby, it's short, and it's really manoeuvrable, and it's a cracking little replica. I like the real firearm. I like the way this thing is. It's got a real special forces kind of Spetsnaz feel about it, and yeah, I think it's really cool. So we get a battery, we get a stick battery, we get some BBs, we get a Bakelite style mag, but it's obviously plastic. We get a charger, but I'm not too fussed about that, and we get our little AK. We also get a spare spring in here because this one has come with its downgraded power. It should be around 350 FPS. That'll be probably the 400, 420 FPS spring. Feels pretty solid. So let's get this out and have a proper look at it. Okay, so first thoughts. I can't believe this is 130 quid. Seriously, it's got a full metal or full steel body, upper and lower receiver, fire selector, stock. Pretty sure, no, this is aluminium. So is this, and I'm not sure about the flash hider, but it's got a full wooden foregrip and a plastic handguard. That is actually really solid feeling little replica. Okay, so here it is, the AK74 SU from Cyma. Now this is solid as a rock. This is ridiculous. I can't believe how solid this thing is, and for £135 it is rock solid. There aren't any creaks, no wobbles, nothing's moving. Charging handle works. We've got our collapsible stock. Press the button on the back here and it flicks around and locks in place. Even when I trap my fingers, or does it lock in place? Yeah, it does. It's just really stiff, solid, doesn't move, doesn't budge an inch. You got a little button on the back here. You just pull that back and we release the stock and it locks in place. No wobbles at all. That is solid as a rock. I can't believe it. It's our fire selector, nice and solid. No wobbles there. Feels really good. So that's our full auto and single fire, and then back on safe. Honestly, I can't believe it. I can't believe this is £135. It's ridiculous. Where are they saving the money? That is mad. And there is so much steel. It's steel all over the place. It really is a steel. Check this out. Loads of steel everywhere. That's not. Oh, something is up there. Yep, the bit that holds the handguard on, that's all metal. Oh, metal. It's all steel up there, not on the bottom, it is on the top, and the flash hider is as well. That is amazing, absolutely amazing. So is the stock. That is so cool. This thing is really solid. Now, where do you put the battery, I hear you ask? Well, if you've been around AK before, you probably know. If not, then you press the button at the back here and we lift the top cover up, and there you have your battery connection. The battery slides down into the fake gas tube. We have a little fuse in there. I'm not a big fan of fuse, I tend to cut them out. And we've got a mini Dean's connector there. Version 3 gearbox and a metal hop unit. Now, one thing I will say is the aluminium metal hop unit looks pretty rough cast. That is not a pretty hop unit. To adjust it, you, like any other AK, you pull back your charging handle and your adjustment is there. Yeah, that thing's pretty rough on the outside. We can only hope that it's better on the inside. But generally, that is really good. For the money, it's ludicrous. And again, with our version 3 gearbox, quite a rough casting on there, but nothing to get too upset about. The fit and finish is excellent. It's absolutely solid. And we've got this nice wood finish on the front here, and it is actually real wood, like the plywood style handguard. And the flash hider, everything is rock solid. Nothing is budging on there. Really nice. You've got your iron sights across the back here. They are adjustable, you can flip them around, but you've also got your rail at the side for mounting any optics. So if you want to put a red dot or anything like that on, You also get a high cap mag, one of the Cyma plastic mags, which goes in like so. Fits in nicely, no wobble, tiny bit side to side, but nothing unacceptable. So fits in really nicely and looks amazing. That is such a nice fit. So I've also got a couple of the Cyma tactical sort of modern style mags as well, which are quite thick, but again they fit in really nicely. A little bit more wobble actually than the other one, but still look pretty cool, still will work no problem. Like I say, a tiny bit more wobble than the other one, but I'm sure we could do something about that if we wished. Yeah, so the PMag style AK mags aren't quite as nice a fit in there as the original, but that's because this is slightly different on the back here, and I'm sure you could fire that off if you really wanted to. Having said that, these are so cheap, you're probably better off grabbing a load of these and sticking them in instead and going for it, because these things are like, you know, £5 a piece, something like that. Very, very cheap. As long as they're mid caps, obviously we don't want any high caps around here. Thank you very much. But all in all, this thing is absolutely rock solid. I really, really like it. So let's stick a battery in and see what it sounds like. Okay, so let's try a battery in this. We have got a 7.4 1600 milliamp. This is not the battery you'll be using in this gun because it is square and it won't fit in there, but at the moment it's the best sort of setup I've got for this, because you don't want to be running 11.1 in this as it is, because it hasn't got a MOSFET and you're going to burn out your trigger contacts. So we're going to stick this 7.4 in and see what it's like. So obviously I can't close this down because that's silly. So that's full auto, that's single shot, so I'll try single shot first. Obviously there's no BBs in this, no magazine. Ooh, okay, locked up and it's dead. Something has happened. That's why I don't like fuses in airsoft guns, because you get a jam like that, which is only the gearbox not cycling fully, and it's burnt out the fuse.
2 hours later.
Okay, so with the absence of a new fuse, what could be best described as a homemade fuse, we can try again. So the battery's in, and that's super snappy. That is. That sounds like a really nice shimming job in there. That is actually really good. So full auto. There is nothing wrong with that. That is actually quite snap for a bog standard AEG for £130 with a 7.4 battery in. That is super snappy. I would not turn my nose up at that. Just a shame about the fuse, because if you're a new player, chances are you're not going to have any spare fuses. In fact, I'm very much not a new player and I haven't got any spare fuses. So yeah, that's a pain in the butt. So next up for this really is to give it a bit of a shooting test and see what it's like accuracy wise. Unfortunately, it's now dark and it's blowing a gale. It's real foul weather out there for August. So it's going to have to wait till tomorrow. Fortunately for you and the world of YouTube and the magic editing tools, tomorrow is now. Right then guys, so what have we got inside of our Cyma? Now we've got a motor which actually feels pretty high torque. That's got some resistance in its magnet, so that's actually feels a reasonably decent motor. It doesn't got anything on there to say it's high torque, but you know, just from turning it, there's quite a bit of resistance, so not a bad start. As far as the internals are concerned, well, we have a bearing spring guide, which is always nice. Steel spring guide with a bearing on it. It is not a quick change spring on this replica, as you can see from the back of the gearbox, which makes it a pain in the backside to put together compared to others, but you know, we can live with that. We have steel bushings on the inside of the gearbox. They seem, you know, they're steel bushings, they're nothing special. They're the standard type that you'll get in a Cyma, along with the blue grease. And we've got a standard set of steel gears. Again, absolutely nothing wrong with the steel gears from Cyma. They're nothing special, but then they're not horrible either. They're absolutely perfectly usable, so nothing wrong with those. The gearbox finish is actually pretty rough. It's actually a cast finish, almost like a sand cast finish, and the inside is pretty burry, pretty rough, so I'd be tempted to do something with that before I put it back together. There's actually a bit of glue in there. We have a normal version 3 tappet plate, and we have a non O-ring nozzle on the end. All fits together nicely, but we don't have an O-ring in there, so you can improve the air seal obviously. We have a standard trigger unit, and we have what feels very much like an aluminium cylinder. It's very light, and it's got this sort of anodized finish to it. Now we also have a silent style piston head. They're not really silent, but they're described in that manner, and we have a really pretty bad air seal actually, but that I can guarantee is down to the O-ring. The O-ring looks foul if I'm honest, so let's pop that off. And there we go, we've got a proper air seal. So just simply an O-ring needs changing. The cylinder head itself has a double O-ring on it, so nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine and should do the job well. I quite like these little aluminium cylinder heads with the double O-rings. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. I preferred it if it was flat, because it gives you a chance to put a pom piston in there rather than one of the so-called silent ones, because in reality they're not really silent at all. But yeah, great air seal, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So if you want to do anything with your air seal, change that O-ring and change out the nozzle for an O-ring style nozzle, and you should be good to go. You shouldn't really have any problems at all with an air seal after that. I tidy up the inside of the gearbox, give it a bit of a smooth out, a bit of a polish, and yeah, simple little upgrades just to improve the AG out of the box, and away you go. Now I am actually going to rewire this to get rid of this stupid fuse. I really don't want that in there, so I am going to rewire this, but I'm actually going to rewire it because I've actually got some gate signal wires around here somewhere, so I might just wire it up to fit a Warfet on there and give it a bit extra kick, and then I can use 11.1 as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm not really going to do anything else to it. I might change out that nozzle if I've got a spare AK nozzle. I'm not sure if I have or not actually. I have to go hunting for that. Otherwise, it's good to go. I've also got a very standard AK hop unit, nothing to really report about there. They're all much the same. It is glued in with this red gunk that you tend to get on the hop units these days. It's got a very standard nub, but yeah, no problem in changing out from maple leaf or something like that if you want to make a nice quick easy improvement, or even throw a different barrel or hop unit, whatever you want to do with this really. I've had some good results with some aftermarket hop units and barrels, particularly in my Dytac AK, so there's no reason why you couldn't do the same with this and have another great AG. One thing I wanted to say about this is just one thing about the piston. Yes, it has a full metal rack on it. One thing I don't like about these pistons is the fact they're full teeth. They don't have the first tooth taken off. It is slightly lower, it's a half tooth as opposed to a full tooth like the others, but even so I'd prefer if that one was gone completely. Now you may say, oh well, just grind it off, but it doesn't. In my experience, it doesn't pay off with these. If you grind off that tooth there, the chances are it's going to weaken the rack and this piece will snap off the rear. It's happened on 2 other versions of these pistons I've had that I've tried to correct the AOE on it, and it's, well, not even correcting the AOE, just taking that tooth to allow better engagement, but it doesn't work very well with these pistons, so just be aware of that. So here it is, guys. The well, that was the AK74SU from Cyma, or should I say, what was it called? CM045a. What I have done to this, as you saw from the previous part of the video, the the actual piston O-ring was dried out, shriveled up and dead, which was going to affect the air seal because there wasn't one, and I just dropped a little O-ring nozzle into it as well as it was apart. Reshimmed it, gave the inside of the gearbox polished, tied it up, reshimmed it. I said reshimmed it, didn't I? I think that's it, nothing else. I didn't do anything else to it. Just greased it, got it all lubed up, and brilliant, no problem at all. And that's with an 11.1, because if you noticed, I had a bit of a problem with the fuse before. So what I did, I had to rewire. I hate those fuses, so I just wired it out and stuck in my gate Warfet. Now it cost me all of £2 to put this gate Warfet in, because all I did was ordered a set of signal wires, or in reality I have them in anyway, but a set of signal wires is £20. I already owned the Warfet, so all I did was rewired it, and away you go. It's got a Warfet in there, so I can run 11.1. I also chucked a Maple Leaf Macaron yellow 60-degree bucking and nub into the, or Omega nub into the hop unit, and it's ready to rock. Now the beauty of this is it's absolutely solid build. Oh yeah, I put the obligatory paracord on the stock as well. The beauty of this thing is it's ready to rock straight out of the box. So if you buy one of these, take it out, play with it, field it, do whatever you want. And when you get home, you can do whatever you want as far as upgrades. It'll accept pretty much anything you want to throw into it. If you really want, you can stick a Gate Titan MOSFET in there, or trigger unit should I say, which would probably be worth more than the gun in its entirety. But for £130, this thing is an absolute bargain. It's really good. Now one thing I'll say is, like any of the Chinese built guns, whether it be from Cyma, Spectre Arms, BO, else Double Bell, the old D-Boys, whoever it might be, I think Double Bell is D-Boys now, all of these manufacturers sometimes will trip up when it comes to quality control, and that's one thing you've got to remember. I have no problems with this. The thing is absolutely solid. It was well put together. Even the gearbox and the shimming was decent. The O-ring for the piston was rubbish. You know, what can you say about that? And that's about it. I don't think there were any other problems inside the gearbox I can remember. It's a couple of days on from when I actually filmed the stripped down part, because I've been really busy. And so yeah, all in all, it was pretty solid. It comes apart like any other AK, but it's for £130. This thing's an utter bargain. If you're in the market for an AK, it really is a bargain. Grab yourself some mid caps, and if you don't like the high caps, I personally think the black ones look a bit better in here than the brown ones, and away you go. You've got yourself a cracking little AG. And I've done very little to this. I'd be happy to use this in a CQB environment. I've literally put, what would it be, a nozzle, say £6, the bucking and nub for the Maple Leaf for the hop unit was, say, a tenner with the two of them, and the wires for the Gate Warfet is another £2. So it's, yeah, for less than 20 quid you've got yourself a nice little build. And I've used the standard barrel, I've not changed that out, there's no reason to, for a CQB setup. And yeah, it's a cracking little AG. Obviously, if you don't already own a Warfet, then it's going to cost you 70 quid instead of the £2 it cost me. But that is a hack. Remember guys, if you've got a Warfet, you can fit that in as many guns as you want. Just buy the signal wires to go with it and rewire them. But even standard out the box, it's great. The high torque motor in it feels high torque. It's not advertised, I don't think, but it feels a fairly high torque motor. It's not going to be quite where an SHS, or if you go further, Action Army, high torques, things like that, they're going to be much better, but they're much more expensive. At the box, this is really good value, and I've got no problem at all. Plenty of battery space for you to fit your MOSFET in there, and away you go. Compact, foldable, it's absolutely great, And you've also got a scope rail mount on there if you want. You can even change out the wooden foregrips if you want for something more tactical. So all in all, I think that's pretty solid little build. Couple of little things. I like the fact this is a covered screw. It's this actually pops off and shows us and exposes the screw underneath, rather than this being screwed in. It's much better because you can tighten the screw up to keep this stiff and then just pop that cap on the top. That's a nice little touch. I've seen it on a couple of the Cyma built AKs, and it does work well. Mags are solid, they don't move around. The plastics are good quality, no movements from the front end. And yeah, generally the hop-up unit itself is pretty crusty, but it is metal, so it does have a bit of rigidity to it. It's just a bit scabby and poorly cast, but it does the job. So that's it guys, £135 roughly. Cyma AK74 SU, steel body, decent internals, cheap price. It's great if you're in the market for a cheap AK. Budget AK, you're just starting out. If you want something that's cheap and cheerful, does the job, but also looks great, then you can't go wrong with this if you're in the market for an AK. You really can't. You could literally throw a massive upgrade kit into this and it'd still come up cheaper than some of the more premium AK brands. And honestly, Cyma have done a great job with this one. It's an absolute bargain. So feel free to go out there and grab yourself one. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Once again, check out the Patreon. Remember to subscribe to us. There's a few extra videos on Patreon. Got a little bits of different stuff on there. And some of the things that I've had to sort of take out of the videos on YouTube because YouTube don't like some of the stuff I do. So I've had to put that into my Patreon, but you know, it's there if you want to have a look at it. If you don't worry, the same content is still coming. You know, you're still going to get the same content that you've always got on YouTube. So by all means, go and check it out. If not, no problems. I'm not offended. I've got a couple of other videos coming up soon. They've been a bit slow coming lately because I've actually been playing more airsoft than I have working on the actual guns themselves. I've not actually been doing much to them lately. I've been out playing. I have been experimenting with some RHOP setups in one of my other new guns coming up for review soon. And it's quite interesting actually. I'm getting some interesting results. And I've been doing a lot of gameplay and I've been messing with my motorbikes. So, you know, I will be back hopefully to some more regular videos soon. Remember guys, thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.